April. Is this the most important month in Assam? Probably. April in Assam means warm, sunny afternoons, a nip in the evening air, and of course, rains. The sounds of Dhol, Bihu Geet fill the air, and the harvest festival marks the end of a season and the beginning of another. Except, someone forgot to inform the weather this time. It is April, but feels like May, or maybe June. It even has shades of July and August. In short, it has everything except the feeling of April. Aizawl is over 35 degrees. Imphal hit almost 45 degrees. Guwahati feels like Gurgaon, and Tripura resembles a Tandoor. We are amidst one of the worst heat waves in recent memory, and it is just mid-April. Looking for a silver lining? Well, parts of Bengal are over 33 degrees, if that helps, and unlike Maharashtra, no one died of heat stroke while attending a political rally. Small mercies indeed. Pursuing for months.
The village of Assam
In the 75th Independence Day,
Now, I understand some people still believe that climate change is a conspiracy. Sure, a lot of people also believe that Earth is flat. We are not them. We are human beings who, when presented with facts, figures and numbers, are able to change our stance. So when I, a man in his mid-20s,
30s,
realized that I grew up wearing a jacket during Bihu and now cannot even walk a kilometer without being drenched in my own sweat in April, it is difficult to believe it is a conspiracy. Let me elaborate further. Last year, Assam was at the cusp of one of the worst floods in recent times. Remember this pic from Dimahasao? Remember the floods in Hojai? All that happened around this time. Okay, not the same week, but that was all before the monsoon season. Because when the monsoon season actually arrived, several parts of Assam were declared hit by drought. And it was not even the first drought in Assam in decades. Nagaland, Manipur and Tripura have all faced drought-like situations, and the situation is so bad in Manipur that rivers run dry well before the advent of monsoon. If you want to understand how a valley like Imphal ran out of water, watch this video. The link is in the description. When one relatively small state oscillates between severe rains and droughts in just a few months and both cause extensive destruction, it is important to understand what we are going through. Aizawl is not a city in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh. It is located among hills at an elevation of over 1100 meters. So when that city crosses 35 degrees, it becomes clear that the apt word for describing the recent phenomenon is unprecedented. What will happen in the coming months? Monsoons, droughts, floods, waterlogging, heat stroke related deaths? We simply do not know. What we do know is that India, now the most populous nation in the world, will face the worst of climate change, and it is now or never for India. And how prepared are we for a phenomenon that is still being understood? Well, let us start with first seeing how we have handled natural disasters that we are familiar with, like say Assam and floods. Can I blame climate change for say waterlogging in Guwahati when people have built palaces in wetlands over water bodies and after cutting down hills and getting rid of forests? Can I talk about climate change when several parts of Meghalaya have been ravaged by stone quarries and illegal mining? Climate change is a consistent process that is slowly but surely changing everything around us, from rising temperatures across the country to the catastrophic reduction in ice-capped mountains, especially in the Himalayas. From the slow death of biodiversity around us to more erratic weather, climate change is going to hit us hard. Sure, the excess rains can be blamed on climate change, but it can also be just a regular event. Either way, we are hardly prepared for it. In 2022, a United Nations report warned that climate change repercussions for India will be irreversible if India doesn't take drastic measures by 2030. The report noted that climate change is already impacting health, livelihood and infrastructure in India's urban areas. The current heat wave is just a trailer. The movie is being played out in front of us 24/7, 365 days a year. Remember, we are witnessing temperatures above 35 degrees across many parts of Northeast, and it is no longer news. India and Northeast could face multiple climate change induced disasters in the next 2 decades. So, what are we doing to tackle them? We are definitely going to ignore this statement made by our Prime Minister.
70, 80, 85, 90 साल के लोग तो सर्दियों में अगर आप देखेंगे तो अक्सर कहते हैं कि पिछली बार से इस बार सर्दी ज़्यादा है, ऐसा कहते हैं ना. एक्चुअली सर्दी ज़्यादा नहीं है, उनकी उम्र बढ़ने के कारण उनकी सहने की शक्ति कम हो गई है. वैसे ही ये क्लाइमेट चेंज नहीं हुआ है, हम चेंज हो गए हैं.
In 2021, after months of pushing back, India updated its 2030 climate targets under the Paris Agreement. India is considering cutting down almost by half the amount of greenhouse gases produced for every dollar of economic activity by the end of the decade. India's updated nationally determined contributions, or NDCs, as commitments by countries under the Paris Agreement are referred to, could include a commitment to reduce the emissions intensity of the economy by at least 46 to 48% from its 2005 levels. Building on its enhanced renewable energy target of 450 gigawatt, India could pledge to increase the share of non-fossil fuel sources in its energy generation capacity to at least 60%, with the possibility of raising it to 65% by 2030. But what does it mean for us and our daily lives? A lot. In a region where floods are an annual affair, erratic weather can only cause more damage. Climate change and its impact will also put the region's geopolitics under pressure. Extended droughts can wreak havoc in the hills, leading to large-scale migration. And if you are thinking we are reading too much into it, then allow us to inform you that climate refugees is a real term and it is not even new. The term climate refugees has been used since 1985 when United Nations Environment Programme expert Assam Hinawi defined climate or environmental refugees as people who have been forced to leave their traditional habitat temporarily or permanently because of marked environmental disruption. According to reports, we could have 1.2 billion climate refugees by 2050. And let us not forget, hundreds of thousands of people right here in Assam are displaced every year, some permanently due to floods. We are in a disaster-prone zone. We have always been, and climate change will not make it easier. Sure, some people will say a certain party under the leadership of a certain person will take care of all this. Sure. The truth, however, is rather uncomfortable. The present rains and floods may not be due to the climate change, but at this point, there is nothing around us that has not been impacted by climate change. The sooner we understand this, the better. But for now, let us continue to fight over who took more offense over religion. And can someone please get me some coconut water?
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to EastMojo. For any queries, put them down in the comments section below and press on the bell icon for notifications.